Hey guys, welcome to Faz Radio. Let's get started. So today is the first day of tax weekend. Woohoo! Are you excited, Mr. Titan?
I am extraordinarily excited. I look forward to this day every
I
year.
love doing taxes, and so do you all. I bet that's why you're here.
Right? This has been probably the biggest challenge I've ever faced in my tax life, and I've had a lot of challenges with that.
And you do lots of tax. Well, you do your taxes every year.
Yes, I
I
do, and
usually pay
normally it's
somebody.
easy. Well, it's pretty easy normally. The crypto mess and getting all the proper documents done, usually the software does all the work for you. You just poke in a few numbers, hit send, and it's done. Trying to get the software that's out there to read things right and give you accurate numbers that you want to certify on your prison life, that's a little tougher.
Crypto messes it all up. Did you say prison life?
Yeah,
You'll be
man.
going to prison if you get that wrong.
What Wesley Snipes or whatever had to go to prison, didn't he? I think that was for evasion, though, not just screwing up what they
Martha
put in
Stewart
their
went to
forms.
prison for tax evasion too, didn't she?
No, that was insider trading.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they part of the old boys club. They screwed up and got caught. But I haven't done mine yet. I'm going to do mine either tonight or tomorrow or maybe even Sunday. I don't know yet.
So I've had a lot of complicated tax stuff because I have bought a lot of crypto, bought a lot of NFTs, traded a lot of crypto for NFTs. And when you pay for, and it's not just trading that you get taxed on, but just the act of paying for things. When you buy an NFT with crypto, that purchase is in itself, that is considered a taxable event. And so I don't know, if you buy crypto for $1 and then I don't know, 6 months later, you buy something that's $10 with it because it's gone up in value. Well, guess what? You get that item, but you also have to pay taxes on how much value your crypto gained, which sucks because it becomes very hard to track.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you've got the blockchain.
Oh
The
yeah, it
part
should be that easy. It's all there.
right. The problem is how the software classifies everything, because none of the software has the same verbiage for how things are. Some call it mining, some call it rewards, some call it income, some call it a bunch of other things. And getting that straight and how to import it, you got to make a new spreadsheet for every platform and get the fields right. And I know you've spent probably 100 hours with your spreadsheets for NFTs because nobody seems to want to support the ERC 1155, which is of course what Galley uses. So this has been crazy by no stretch of the word.
Yeah, I got myself into trouble by buying and selling a lot of Gala NFTs. And well, while yes, some of it was rather lucrative, it becomes hard to trace things down later. Especially if you were to buy an NFT in one wallet, move it to another wallet, and then sell it in that wallet. It's like, okay, that's when tools like Coinly just can't keep up. It's like, oh well, that transfer was a sale. No, it was a transfer. Okay, well then the sale was a sale. Well, yeah, okay, that was a sale. But I mean, just moving money between wallets becomes a pain in the ass.
It does. And if you followed us in the tax channel, I don't think we did it in the tax ID 10Ts, but in that in the tax channel that we have, taxes regulation and something else it's called. What is that? Yeah. Taxes, regs, and banking. There we go. We started probably like 3 months ago. We started jumping onto all these tax platforms and inputting wallets and testing it to see what goes on and see what their UI looks like, see what it looks like when we import data. How tough is it to get data in there? Once it gets in there, how do they classify it? And everything else. So I personally have in my browser, I have 9 different tax platforms that I threw wallets into to see what the hell would happen. So one of the things I want to share tonight is my experience with that, the pros and cons of each of them. And of course, your mileage may vary with this because I have, at last count, 39 different accounts, according to what they call them, which means wallets, exchanges, all that. I have 39 that have to be imported. There's Solana, there's Binance Smart Chain wallets, there's Polygon wallets. I have like 7 ETH wallets. There's my Ledger, which has multiple chains on that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see. Let me count this up here. Where's my exchanges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 exchange connections. And here's the thing. So some of the platforms don't accept all of the connections. So you have to determine whether that platform is able to access the API for FTX, for example, right? And some do, some don't. Some will not read BitTrue. Some will not see KuCoin. Some don't have a connection, like Tornado Cash or anything else like that. They don't have that. And if you don't input all of those, if you've, like Faz was saying, pumped money back forth and parked it someplace, you sent it to BitTrue, put it in Power Piggy for a while, pulled it out, and then sent it to a third wallet. If you're missing any of those connections, it will freeze on you, and you have to go back and try and figure out from last June 14th what the hell you did with that 2 ETH. And it's not easy. Okay. So the bad news is that there isn't one particular tax site, and I call it software, but we know it's like a website. There's not one particular one that does everything just right. There's ones that we got really close, but it requires a lot of manual intervention and unscrewing of transactions and manually uploading in the proper format and the proper document transactions such as the ERC 1155 Gala NFTs. So is it possible to get super duper close? Yes. But I think Faz will attest that it's probably well over 200 hours of work. And that 200 hours that he put in, he's a damn developer. So he knows exactly what he's doing with all these sheets and data and everything else. People like me, I look at a spreadsheet. He was showing me his spreadsheet on the one, and I'm like, holy cripes. How do you even sort that thing? So,
Well, so a lot of these tools like Coinly allow you to export, after you've messed with all your transactions, export them to an Excel format. And I export them to a CSV file, and then I look at them in Google Sheets. What's nice about Google Sheets or Excel is you can actually, if you've exported it into a CSV format, you could then sort the data, like sort things by the highest gains and sort things by certain wallets. And you can kind of get an idea of, you can also make charts and graphs on them, and you can get an idea of what you have. And the hardest part for me has been to to visualize my data. When I do it in Coinly doesn't help me visualize what's going on. It just says okay, what's this transaction for? You go look it up, you say it's for this, but then you don't know if you have duplicates or whatever. If you export it into Excel or CSV and then import it into Excel, you can see, oh my God, I got like 14 of the same transaction here. And then it helps you to go back into Coinly and delete them. So I'm constantly going back and forth and just looking at my transactions. And then, of course, Coinly doesn't know what the hell ERC 1155 NFTs are. It doesn't read them. You can import them, but only in a very, very, very specific way, which I have not completed yet, which I'll need to complete soon. But the good news is, at least I know how much I've made with my NFTs. So the NFT part is what's killing me more than anything else. It's fine. Coinly gets transactions wrong, but none of these tools seem to be able to work with NFTs very well.
No, some of them, and both Faz and I have argued back and forth with the people on Twitter because these companies will say, "Oh, we support NFTs," and then we go look, and we'll push back and be like, "No, you don't. You can see them. Yes, it's kind of cool. You can go to the NFT center on their site and see all your NFTs." But you click on it and there's no date of purchase, there's no amount, there's no when it was sold. So really, for tax purposes, you're supporting them for looking at pretty pictures, but that does me no good on a tax site.
I have humbled no fewer than 3 different tax software people, and I will name them. Coinly does not do Coinly does not do ERC 1155s. There's another one with some Coin Panda, I think it was, made a big stink about we do ERC 1155s as well, and I'm like, prove it. And actually, you can go look at my Twitter stream. I've gone after every single one that says we do NFTs. I'm like, do you do ERC 1155s? And then invariably they say, yes, we do. And I say, prove it. And then they don't. And then after a while, they're like, oh, so we don't do it yet, but we will do it next year. Well, isn't that nice? You'll do those ERC 1155s next year. I'm trying to think of that third one. I don't think Accointing does it. Accointing is a third one.
Yeah, so
in any of these, you have to do them manually. You have to enter them manually.
One of the two of us will jump into the Faz Radio description for today's show when it's over, and we'll put the links to all of these ones that we're talking about in there. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Whew. So the ones that I played with and I still play with, because they a lot of these have updated a lot since the beginning of the year. So you'll hear us bitch, moan, whine, and complain about them, but they are getting better, just not fast enough for this year's taxes. Let's put it that way. So the ones that I have been very religiously going to and checking for updates and importing new wallets is Cointracking, Token Tax, Cointracker, Zen Ledger, Crypto Tax Trader, Accointing, TaxBit, and Coinly. So those are the ones that I've used, and I'll save the spoiler and FOMO and everything else. The top 2 for my situation, because I have so many wallets. Some of you may only have 2 wallets and it'll be way easier. But for people who have a ton of wallets, who did a ton of trading and all that kind of stuff, your top 2 that I've found are going to be Coinly and Accointing. So to kind of go back and start with the beginning with Cointracking, it's cointracking.info. And I absolutely love their UI. They've got a ton of, it's like a huge dashboard. It's absolutely fantastic for what they have. And they give you all kinds of pie charts and how many trades per month and pricing over the last 30 days, balance by day. It lists all your tokens over on the right-hand side. It gives you this cool timeline. So it's a visual timeline of what you did month by month with these neat little blocks. We really need to get like a video going on this or something so we can start sharing this stuff. But I love it. So here's the problem with them. They have a problem pulling the right data for the tokens. So for instance, I partook in the airdrop this year of the SOS token. And I managed to get a few million of those. It was like 14, 15 million, something like that. And it tells me I about had a heart attack when I imported the wallet because I hadn't been following it for a while. It said it was worth $33,000. And I went, oh, wow. Hey, I missed something. And I jump in and I'm like, you dumbasses, you got it wrong. There's like 3 tokens named SOS. You're pulling the data for the wrong one. And there's no way to manually correct that. It's also pulling different information. I don't know where they're pulling from, but the price of Gala is off by like 3 cents. Some of the XRP is off. They're high. XRP is high on this one. And it has a limit on how many different wallet addresses you can put in. So that makes it a little bit tough. I hope this one, Cointracking, I hope they really improve this coming year, because I would absolutely, if nothing else, I would use them for a visual dashboard of what I have, because I love the data that they provide you. Jump in anytime you have anything to say. Otherwise, I'll just keep yipping.
Well, I was just thinking visualization tools for your crypto would be awesome. Right now, the way that I visualize things, I can hear you sucking on that, by the way.
Right?
Vaping your head off. So the biggest, like I said earlier, the biggest problem I had is actually visualizing what my funds look like. How much did I buy? How much capital gains did I get on it? Which things did I get gains on, and where did the money go when I spent it? You can make, if you have a CSV file and you can import it to Google Sheets or Excel, you can easily make charts and graphs. And really, that's a lot more powerful than it seems. Wallet names with, if when Coinly will give you, every transaction, you could see the wallet, and you could see how much you paid. You can see how much a gain, for each transaction. You can get some really neat reports. So, I'm wondering if maybe when we're done, maybe we should show some tips and tricks on how to visualize the data a little bit better. So at least you can find a way to track things down. Like I said, one of the reasons why I put it into a CSV file, so I could see if there are duplicate transactions. Because that happens with Coinly. You'll go to import something, and it'll either say it imports or it doesn't appear to import. And then you'll do it again, or you'll do it in a different way from a different wallet. And then all of a sudden you've got duplicates everywhere. And each of those duplicates are saying, well, I don't know where this money comes from. So maybe you can connect me to, you can merge transactions or something. So then of course I go down the wrong paths of sometimes you want to merge transactions, sometimes you delete them. When do you do that? Well, I don't have a good answer for that.
The most worthless on this list, and it might be a good platform, I know Faz has some experience here, was token tax. Because with token tax, you can't even play with it without buying something. So you can't upload a CSV, you can't connect a wallet, you can't connect an exchange until you pay them their fee. So I did not have an opportunity to actually see what their platform could do. And I kept checking back to see if they would follow suit with these other ones and allow you to at least play with it, and they don't. So I have no comment at all on that one. Do you want to share what you've learned from that or no?
No.
Okay. Next up was Cointracker, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one also. But here's the thing: you can upload and you can play with it, and see some cool data, and their UI is really nice on the eyes. You can see your all-time return, all your proceeds, everything else. The problem is that without paying, you can't track more than 25 transactions.
Ouch.
So you can see like data, like I put one of my wallets in here and it shows me, net deposits, several $1,000s, net proceeds, several $1,000s. It talks about the portfolio I have there. You get a cool graph. It lists everything out at the bottom under your assets. But then it says select a subscription in order to access investment performance. And you have to do that. And if you try and click on add more wallets, you go over there and it says, oh, you already have 109 transactions in this wallet for ETH. We're only tracking the top 25. You need to purchase a subscription to track it. You can put them in there, but it isn't going to track them. It isn't going to tell you anything.
Well, Coinly will let you put in whatever you want. It just won't give you any
we haven't
reports.
gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there yet. So the cool thing, the really cool thing about Cointracker, and by the way, I do follow this, and Cointracker is being rebranded. And I think it's on the 18th, of course, right after tax day. They're going to switch their name around and they're going to unveil a new platform. So maybe they made some fixes. But in Cointracker, they have an NFT center. And I put in my Gala wallet to this one so I can click on any of these NFTs and it tells me what collection it's from, the date I acquired it, the price I paid for it. And that's kind of cool. The problem is that it does not import anything that I've sold. So there's not like a section to where you can see where I sold a Miranda's Tavern back in, I think it was November. That isn't listed here with a sale price or a sale date. It only lists the current NFTs that you have, which is cool, but that doesn't help me for taxes again. So they say they have NFT support. Technically they do. And we know I've already put it out there. Whenever you have to say the word technically, it's messed up. So that's kind of cool. I hope they really up their game on that NFT side.
Isn't Cointracker working with OpenSea in some way?
Yes. They are making, well, at least from their Twitter, they are making tremendous strides with getting their act together. They bought, and I hope I'm not confusing them with somebody else. I'm pretty sure it's Cointracker. They purchased not only Cointracker, but they purchased another organization as well. And they took the two organizations and they're planning to merge them together. One was a big DeFi thing. So I think that's where the NFT side came from. But I like their UI. I hope they improve it. But right now they're worthless for 2021 taxes. It's just not going to work for me. Moving right along. Whoops, did I hit the wrong button? Yeah, I did. Damn it. This is why I moved our StreamYard to the other side. Zen Ledger. Okay, so we had several people talk about Zen Ledger before. Let me log in here. So Zen Ledger is apparently pretty accurate from what I hear, but they're kind of the same way. Whereas it's very difficult to import anything into it without paying first. The they'll let you do it, but it always kicks you back to the choose your Zen Ledger plan page. They're reasonably priced. It's $149 per tax year, which is great. But again, without being able to play with it too much, I wasn't able to get a lot of transactions. So the wallet that I put in this one didn't have as many transactions, and it had NFTs, and I wanted to see how it would classify things when it came in. So it doesn't give you a lot of data that you can easily parse through and see if things are correct. For instance, I had sold some tokens on, I want to say it was BitTrue. And in order to move it, I always convert it to Litecoin. And I tipped the Litecoin and shot it over to my ledger to wait for the price to go up so I get more money for the stuff I already sold and made money on. So in this, it says it came from US dollar cash, $1,500 worth, that was bought into Litecoin, and that's not what happened. So it's reading the transaction wrong somehow, and I can't figure out why, because there's not a lot you can do to edit it. They just pull a drop down that says, mark this as mined, mark this as transfer, mark this as a buy, mark this as an airdrop, but there's no real edit button. And they have an edit area, but it won't let you edit the currency. It's whatever input from the blockchain is insisting that this is US dollars. And it could be that because I transferred that token directly from the token to the Litecoin, if on the back end of BitTrue, it instantly for a millisecond transferred it to USD and then back into Litecoin, that's what it's reading. And I know it's wrong. So that concerns me. So while inexpensive and other people have had success with it, maybe people who only have 2 or 3 wallets and 1 or 2 exchanges might find this one good. For me, who has a ton of exchanges and a ton of wallets, it ain't working. Cointracker. So, CryptoTrader.tax. Okay. Another one that I really, really like. I like the UI. I like the simplicity of how they list everything, and they walk you through selecting the best tax method, whether it's FIFO, LIFO, or HIFO. Here is my problem. In order to import anything, they just quite literally last week had the ability to import an ETH wallet by address. Prior to last week, you couldn't do that, which led to a lot of frustration on my part. It was basically exchanges only. So they have a CSV upload. So I went to Etherscan and I pulled the data and I tried to make a spreadsheet. No matter how well I followed their instructions, it still would not upload the transactions. I would get error after error after error, and I finally gave up. I finally got one of my accounts in there just so I could play with it. And I went to classify the transactions, and it says, items that need attention. And every single transaction needed attention. So big thumbs down from me on the CryptoTrader.tax one. It looks easy. It looks simple. Their instructions were great, but the data classifications are a complete failure. TaxBit. We'll go to this one next. I love it. I absolutely love this one. And if you have just one or two wallets, one ETH wallet, one Bitcoin wallet, and one or two exchanges, I'm going to highly recommend you do TaxBit. Here's the problem with TaxBit, and the only, and I mean only reason I'm not using TaxBit this year, because they have an NFT center as well. They have a tax optimizer, which when you pay for their service, will guide you on when to sell things that'll give you the best tax treatment and tell you in hindsight, apparently, hey, had you done this, this, and this, you'd have been in a better tax position. So
I wouldn't want to know those things.
well, still, this is absolutely amazing. I love everything about it. But here's the big thing, and I sent this over to Faz the one night, because for the life of me, I kept coming up to the main thing, and I'm like, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the exchanges on here. I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 19 DeFi wallets, and all my CSV files from Nexo and BlockFi and Ledger and everything else. And I go up to my dashboard, and it tells me my total value of crypto is $8,410. And I said, that's impossible. I have way more than that. And I look down in the coins section, the transaction section, and I'm like, it isn't even listing half of the tokens that I have. Well, you dig into the FAQs. Regardless of paying for their service or not, they only have the quote capability of reading one ETH wallet. They can't, you can put them in there, but it will only read the tokens from one wallet. I'm like, that is the dumbest damn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Nobody has just one ETH wallet. Okay. So that is the only reason I'm held back on this, because it doesn't even list my Bitcoin. It doesn't list anything, even though it's there. And again, it's one CSV file. Well, I have CSV files I need to put in from Nexo, BlockFi, Ledger. And oh, by the way, the CSV has to be per chain in Ledger. So you have to upload the Bitcoin separate from the ETH, separate from the Solana, separate from, and they've got to fix that part. Otherwise, this would be the most perfect tax software I think I've ever seen for crypto. Just playing with the data that I did have in there, it's beautiful. And the NFT thing, beautiful. The tax optimizer, beautiful. Transactions listed out in plain terms, very easily, tells you transfer in from what wallet, going to where, at what time, what the fee is. And it's in a very user-friendly, eye-friendly way to look at it. It tells you how much instantly at the right, 2 cents of income taxable, no gains, not taxable. When you sell something, like it even listed when I bought my ENS domains, it lists the transfer of when I got the ENS. It lists the separate fee for that. It shows me beautiful flow in perfect synchronicity that it was transferred to another ETH wallet, and it says no gains, not taxable transfer. I mean, it picked up on these and boom, 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 boom. I didn't have to adjust not one transaction from the wallet it was reading. Everything came in perfect.
Why do I hear a but coming up?
No, but that's the only thing, like I said earlier, that you can only have one ETH wallet in there, and I have like 11. So I'm not going to spend $400 in gas fees putting everything in one wallet, and it wouldn't matter anyway because they were in the wallet last year. I need that wallet to be in there to track the token all the way through. So they need to fix that part, and I think this would be the perfect tax software. Oh, and don't break the classification system when you do that, because it was literally perfect. I had One of my main ETH accounts in here, where I do a lot of the NFT purchases that it's outside of Gala, and like ENS and Unstoppable Domains, and it pulled it in and it named it. I mean, I thought nobody else does that I can see. That was freaking fantastic. And every transaction, and I have 132 pages, and I went through probably randomly a good 20 pages, and I looked for some transactions I knew were a little bit more complicated, and it grouped all of those transactions together, and it nailed it spot on. So hopefully next year TaxBit will take that step, and I will pay them $500 a year to do taxes if it makes it that easy.
So have you gone through all of them? Do you have recommendations, or do you still have more to go through?
I have two more, which are the top two that we recommended. People with multiple wallets and complex transactions look at, which is Accointing. Faz, you didn't seem too thrilled with this when I was telling you about it.
Accointing lost me at I don't understand ERC 1155s.
No, I get that. But this one is fantastic. The only thing it doesn't have is the connection to BitTrue. It does not have a BitTrue exchange connection. So having to put those in manually, thankfully, I didn't have that many transactions. So it was pretty easy to manually throw them in there. Otherwise, this thing is beautiful. It gives you a portfolio overview. It gives you a neat little thing on the side where you can see your 24-hour performance versus other Accointing users. So as of right now that I'm looking at this on the screen, I am outperforming 96.66% of all other Accointing users with the performance of my portfolio over the last 24 hours. Pat myself on the back for that. I'm pretty good at this. But it gives you some great charts. It gives you all of your a list of all your tokens. You can put any other wallet in. There was maybe 10 or 12 in my Gala wallet transactions that I had to go back and correct or change a little bit. So it got most of them right. The ones where it got confused was where I sold NFTs. So the NFT support here isn't that great. It picked up the transaction, but it dropped the ball on calculating everything right and classifying the NFT sales correctly. They are like uber close, but it was pretty easy because I didn't sell a lot of NFTs. I only sold like 10 or 12 NFTs. The rest of the classifications were fantastic. The manual edit to change something is really, really easy. They don't gray things out and frustrate you with stuff like that. And they call it easy terms, income. I bought this. I mean, they use user-friendly terms in this. I absolutely love Accointing, and I'm pretty sure Accointing is what I'm going to go with this year, this weekend when I pay for my reports.
How do you deal with NFTs, ERC 1155s with them?
Those are the 10 or 12 that I said in that wallet I had to fix when I sold them. And I just marked them as assets sold because it lists it in ETH. It doesn't list it as an NFT. I was able to figure that out very quickly because I recognized the amount. So I was like, oh, yeah, it didn't pick that up. That wasn't ETH. That was my NFT. And I knew exactly when it was. So it was real easy to pull that one out. So I started going back and looking, and it did convert everything to an amount in ETH for my NFT sales.
All right. And is this the last one?
Yeah, we have Coinly next, which I know you and I could talk about for a little bit. I'm sorry if I'm boring everybody going through these one by one, but I do want you guys to know that when we talked in the room about going through and doing a lot of research into these, we actually have. Faz and I have spent countless hours on the phone or on Discord communications, screen sharing, and everything else going through these. I mean, countless hours trying to get this done. Coinly was something I found real early, and they initially marketed that as just a way to see your holdings, and they were working on the tax thing, and they amped it up, and they suddenly got the taxes pretty darn good. But for a free tracker, this is fantastic. I use this as my free tracker just to track all my coins and wallets and see what I had where and everything else as my primary one until I did break down and I bought $40 a subscription to CoinStats, which I absolutely love. It's worth the $40. But Coinly has a very nice UI to it, very easy to see. It breaks down all your assets. You can click the plus button, see every wallet that has, like, for instance, Gala in it. It'll show you exactly where it is. You can change options. It'll update your gains live and on the fly. I've had a very good experience with it, but NFTs, as Faz had mentioned, were a challenge. So can you maybe share a little bit about some solutions on getting NFTs worked out with Coinly?
Well, Coinly has a universal import format, and they technically support NFTs in the fact that you can give names to things that you import. So they'll allow you to tag your NFTs, as in with their tag names: NFT1, NFT2, NFT3. And it's a bit of a laborious process. I actually have not gone through that process yet, so I can't explain a lot about it. But they make it so that it is conceptually possible to take your ERC 1155s, if you have the transactions, if you put it in their format and tag it in their way, then yes, they support it. However, getting things in the proper format means you pretty much damn well be a data miner on your own right. It happens to be that I have a background in data mining and data analysis. So, okay, once it's in this format, I can do that. As far as anyone else doing it, no. My mother, my wife, my grandma, no one would be able to do that. That's one reason for telling anybody that isn't somewhat technically savvy not to get into crypto, because somebody's going to have to figure out how to report those taxes. And I'm sure there's money to be made if you're good at data mining, and then you can help people import their stuff. Give it a few years, and maybe it'll start recognizing things properly. So that was my number one problem with Coinly. I would have gone with another tool out there, but I couldn't find any. And maybe if I had started with a Cointing, if a Cointing does indeed give you a way to import your stuff, maybe I would have used their method. But I'm stuck with Coinly now because I got all my other stuff in them. Coinly also has a problem with GUSD. If you buy Gemini USD, it doesn't even recognize the token at all. And there's a few times I had to go to the customer service, have their customer service actually fix the data behind the scenes for me. You think that you're fixing the data behind the scenes, but you're working with a UI that's messing with these records. If you type in a crypto that it doesn't understand, it's just going to say, sorry, give me another one. And so they had people go and adjust the database behind the UI and make it so that my GUSD stuff would actually work. So it is nice that they had people that could help me out there. It did take them 3 weeks to get to me. So definitely start on your taxes way, way early. And if you're not very far in your taxes right now, then get an extension right now. So Coinly has a ways to go with their NFT stuff. And luckily, I have a way out of it, but most people will not. As far as my recommendation for a tool, unfortunately, since I cannot find any tool out there that can actually handle ERC 1155s, if you're dealing with, like Gala tokens, Gala NFTs, ERC 1155s, then you're going to have a real problem. You're going to have to find somebody that's technically minded that can help you out, and you probably will be charged a lot of money. So unfortunately, there are no other options right now, literally. Or something that I did talk to my tax guy about before I started. I said I might not be able to get all this stuff into Coinly because Coinly might not support it. And so he says, okay, well, why don't you give me a separate spreadsheet with your NFT transactions, your buys and sells and stuff, and then I can, take that and do more with it. It'll take more, it'll cost more because I need to put it in my tax software, but it's possible to work with it. So I have a feeling your accountant probably would be able to work with you as long as you can just give them your buys and sells of your NFTs. I just imagine it to be probably a long conversation.
Well, it is, and I think they have over the last 6 months even done wonders with all of these platforms, getting them to a much better place than they were 6 months ago, but they're just not there yet. We're all going to end up, screwing something up. The IRS, I've had a couple of run-ins with them in the past in my years of filing taxes.
I wouldn't be proud of that.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm 2 for 2 fighting them. And so far, what I've found is this: if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you. Number one. Number two, they really are more geared towards people who are purposely misleading or omitting or trying to cheat the system for legitimate mistakes and things like that. They don't come down hard on you like you see in the movies or like you would imagine. And their interpretation, you've got to remember, is only what you put down on paper and what they can see. So, for instance, I earned way too much money one year as a financial planner. And I ended up owing a crap ton in taxes. I didn't think I was going to do as well as I did, obviously, because I don't have any money taken out in taxes usually, because I usually end up getting money back still, even though I don't pay taxes along the course of the year. With a lot of the leverage that I do. But
tangent alert.
No tangent. They love my stories. I've heard them say it. So I got myself in a pickle with them. And I talked to him. I explained the situation. I said, boy, I reported everything I made. I just owe a crap ton here, and I don't have that kind of money sitting in a bank account ready to get paid. And they put me on a monthly payment plan for paying the back taxes, which was fantastic. And if I ran into a situation where I needed that modified, I wanted to pay a little more or a little less, I'd call them up. They would, hey, no problem. Just pay this on this date and that on that date, and we're all good. If you work with them and they're nice and you're not trying to cheat them or scam them, it's a pleasant experience. At least that, and like I said, I've done this twice now, and both times was a pleasant experience.
They're just waiting for you to start ghosting them, or once you go off the grid, then they're like, if they have to start chasing after you, then that's when they turn mean.
And if you're an asshole to them, I mean, nobody likes paying taxes, right? Nobody. I can't find one person who's happy paying taxes. But when you approach it the right way, it's not as bad as you think. It really isn't. So just do your best. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, and you'll be fine regardless. Even if they come knocking with auditors, if you have a reasonable argument or an explanation as to why, they listen. When I sold a house, they tried to tell me I owed money for gains and everything else, and I said no. I don't. I cited the rule and I sent them back the information, and they wiped it out. And they said, sorry, yep, you're right.
Well,
And
that's a very good point. And the point is, if you actually understand, if you do a little research and understand how the laws work a little bit, that will go very far. If you just say, "Well, I don't know all this crazy weirdo crypto stuff," then they're going to say, "Well, this is how much you owe." And that's the scary part, is because they barely know what they're doing. The IRS is still new to crypto too. They barely know what they're doing, and they're likely to get it wrong. So it helps to have some sort of informed conversation with them. So I would strongly recommend reading up on how taxes, how capital gains works, and how similar things work, like buying and selling of stock, and maybe buying and selling of uh, currencies, just so you can get an idea of the kinds of questions that'll come up. I think really all they want to see is, they just want to see what your transactions are, and they just want to make sure that you're reporting everything you got. And if you have, if you're somewhat close to where you're supposed to be, sounds to me like that you're not going to have a problem with them whatsoever. What I worry about, though, honestly, is, well, no, I've kind of talked myself out of that worry. I worry that they might come up with this wrong interpretation or take a long time. But you got to remember, these people are understaffed right now, and crypto is still so new. They don't really have a lot of time to argue with you about this kind of stuff. So if you have a convincing story and it rhymes, they may just accept it. Well, we're talking about if you get audited. And by the way, we're not tax experts. Don't take our word for, this is how it's going to happen. This is my my guess, is that because this is so new, you might get some breaks.
yeah, because you're right. They don't know what they're doing. And a lot of times they'll just point to something that looks similar to that and say, oh, well, this is how real estate is handled. And crypto is property. So, and you can push back with them. Again, just don't be an asshole. And you say, well, no, actually, that's not the way that this works, because if that was the case, I could use an exchange and roll that into the new property. So if you want to go that route, I don't know any taxes. So then they'll kind of they'll back off, and they'll try another angle. But they're guessing just like we are. Remember, their job is to collect as much money for the Fed as they possibly can. Your job is to keep as much of the money away from the Fed as you possibly can. So there's your inherent problem, right? They're going to make it worst case scenario for you. You've got to make it best case scenario, but you got to do it
They're
right.
looking for glaring omissions. They're looking for, you just provided them with paperwork, and they're going to say, well, you have 2 and 2 here, so 2 plus 2 equals 4. Otherwise, you wouldn't have written down 2 and 2 here. So we're just looking at what you provided us. And then if it comes out 5 years from now, this is what worries me. If it comes out 5 years again from now that you had 10 more over here, they're going to say, how come you didn't tell us about that? And for some reason, I didn't know, doesn't seem to be a good excuse.
No, and that's what I mean. It's the willful stuff that they really will give you a lot of trouble on. And you hear these stories that, of course, they sensationalize it in the news. Oh, this guy's house was seized and they had a lien put on it. And that only happens when you're an asshole and you're lying. Okay. If you've made your best effort and you make a boo-boo, or they interpret things differently, they just want their money. And they'll just say, okay, well, you're going to have to pay $7,000 in additional taxes. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Well, then if you have to pay 7,000 additional taxes, then you work out a payment plan with them,
and you pay your taxes, and everybody's happy, right? So they bring this onus down. They bring this big, they have this looming cloud over your head. You know, the minute you sign that form, if you fuck up one number, you're going to jail and you're going to rot in there until, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. They're reasonable people when you're reasonable with them.
well, just to be sure, you're not a financial advisor anymore.
No, not anymore.
So don't give false assurances, but it sounds like.
Well, yeah. So those are, as I said, my experiences with them. and I can only assume that it's the same today as it was those years past, especially with everything being up in the air right now.
All right. So is that all we got today? Should we move on to any other current events?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, somebody
We
was
were
asking.
late. Yeah,
Yes, we
we were
were.
late today. And that's Faz and I's fault, 100%. We saw the Townstar announcement come out, and we spent the better part of 45 minutes arguing about the tokenomics
Yeah, Titan here
plan.
always thinks that things are going to be, you know, bad in some sort of way. It's, oh my god, this the game is going to fail. People are going to leave. And I try to explain to him that these blockchain games are going to be constantly evolving. If they make a mistake with however they change something, they change the way they do it. And if that change doesn't work, then they'll change again because they're in it to make money. And right now, it's not like, well, they're in it to make money, and right now anybody who's in it is kind of in it to make money as well. So if there's always going to be an adaptation, there's going to be a back and forth while they adapt, while you adapt, the scammers adapt, and so on. Every new rule means a new scam can pop up.
Well, so Faz and I, the reason we work together so well is that he always comes at it with the good stuff angle. I always come at it with the what's all messed up with this angle. And that's where we have our discussions. We call them arguments.
I have hope, he has fear. Between the two of us, you get the accurate picture.
Yeah, we find the middle ground. But this is all brand new, man, and there's I don't want to say it like that because I'll Faz will jump on me if
Well,
I
let me
phrase it
start up a
that
little
way.
bit. Let me introduce the subject. So apparently, with this new Townstar stuff that they're doing, one, they're going to pull all the town generating NFTs out of the store for temporarily, and also they're going to make it so that you can buy these things called gems with town that do things to your town. Like you can speed up people, you can change how the priority of how things are done, you can get extra storage, basically the things that those NFT playing cards did for you before. Instead, apparently the gems will do it. And but the only difference is when you buy these gems, you're actually burning town. And that's the elephant in the room right there. Is everybody has been saying for a long time, guys, you got to be burning town because you're just printing up more and more of this stuff all the time, and it's getting worth less and less. And now they've come up with a sink or a mechanism to burn mechanism to get rid of it. I think they had said in the past that they weren't going to do a very specific prescribed burn of what they have. So instead, what they've done is made it so that you can choose to burn stuff based upon services done for you. Oh, you want your dude to move a little faster? Spend some town or burn some town and we'll help you out. Well, that's not so bad if you're about to lose and you stand to lose your daily town payout. If you're going to get a lot of town back from your payout, it's probably good. It's probably a bad idea if you're going to use it to speed up everything in your game and get nothing out of it.
Sorry, I was muted.
I set you up completely. Spike
So
the ball.
so so with these gems, they made it very crystal clear. Now, what I will say is I will give a compliment. The communication on this one in the blog was very well written. It explained it very, very well. For the first time in a long time, I think the communication deserves a thumbs up. So, knowing that, they specifically say right in there, pay attention. Gems are not a cryptocurrency and cannot be turned into a cryptocurrency and cannot be sold.
Yeah, I'd call them a
Okay.
service. You're paying for services.
So once you turn your town into gems, that's it, folks. They are now in-game gems, and all you can do is gem stuff with them. You cannot pull the, as far as I know, from what I read, you can't convert those back into town coins, and you cannot take the gems to any exchange and sell them for money. So the earn portion turns into earning buffs in the game versus earning hard dollars in your exchange account. Okay.
Wait, what? Wait. What? There's a big conflation there. The earn portion turns into earning buffs for the game. No, you're earning town.
No, the gems, you can't earn money in your wallet from it, is what I said.
Okay.
Once you go to gems, you're stuck with gems, and those can only buy buffs in the games. It can't buy you a token.
Right.
At least from the way that they portrayed it. Now, again, if they did communicate it poorly, and you can reconvert gems into town at some point, maybe you can. We don't know yet, right? So I'm only assuming what is being said there. So with that being said, if you burn that, it doesn't go back to Gala, it gets burned. It'll automatically go to a burn address. So knowing that, you have to be careful how you may not want to just ape in with all your town coin into gems thinking, well, I'll hold on to these gems and then I'll pull them out later. So you got to be careful with that.
Well, the question there becomes the pricing. Okay, fine. Are these gems priced to the dollar or are they priced to the town? That matters, because if they're priced to the town and town raises in value, then anything that you've bought while town is valued lower is going to, you should have just never have bought it to begin with. I would think that if it's priced to the town, that there's going to be certain times that are good to buy them and certain times that are not, which can cause some shenanigans with people wanting to manipulate the price of town.
Yeah. So one of my arguments to Faz before the show was the distribution of daily town is also done now is going to be done on a point system. Instead of an NFT having a town coin value, like you get 24 town coin for placing this NFT, you will get a number of points for that, which will count towards your distribution. It's really complicated. Faz would probably be able to explain this way better than me. But the point being is that daily distributions out of this pot, it's kind of like a node. It works kind of like the nodes. There's this one giant amount, and you earn points. And that's how the nodes are paid out too. So you earn your points. If you get your points for the day, that's how much town coin out of that total piece you'll earn. So if there's not a lot of town coin players, you get your points for the day, you're going to get this huge payout in town tokens. If a lot of people start playing town, then you're going to get a smaller portion of that. And as time goes on, that total big pot that's split up among all the players is going to continually get smaller and smaller and smaller. It works exactly like the nodes. So over time, and there's a curve on that document at the Gala Games blog, that by like 2023, 2024, there's going to be like hardly any distribution of town out there. Okay. So at that point, the economics on the surface appear that will make town coin more valuable because of the scarcity. My argument on this is that that's not the only reason. And you have to have people buying town coin in order for the price to go up as well.
People won't want the buffs that town coin would buy for them?
Well, this is where the big can of worms gets opened, because my thoughts on this are that the vast majority of the people here now playing Townstar are in it for the rewards, not the game. And if those rewards begin going away and they have to start buying town, which offsets what they can pull out of town, it's not going to go well, I don't think. What you would have to do is convert the people who are earners, or ROI boys, as Gala likes to call them. If they eliminate those people, which this very well may do, and bring in true gamers, which is exactly what they might be wanting to do with this model, they will want those buffs. But the people that are in it now probably aren't going to be very happy.
Well, the way that I was seeing it actually is if right now you have a lot of town, or if you buy town at its current low price of 0.0955 cents or 9.5 cents, later when things become more rare, say 2024, when, I don't know, maybe 1,000 town is being distributed up among 1,000 players a day, you're going to have a lot of town. And that means you're going to have a lot of gems, and you're going to be able to pay to win a lot easier, because they have these monthly tasks and these weekly competitions. I don't know if the competitions are still going, but they have these monthly tasks where, okay, you need to get so and so many stars every single day. Well, if you can goose that to get your stars every day by paying a little bit of by burning a little bit of town for these gems, okay, well then the more town you have to start with, the better you're going to do, and the longer you can last, and the more rewards you're going to get for it later. Got to remember, there's also people that buy and sell town as well. So if you know that, based upon their little distribution graph, that town is not going to be, that there's a lot of town being distributed right now and not much will be distributed later, then you buy up. I think I just said that. I think I just repeated myself. The whole point is, people who are smart and buy up a lot of town later now will benefit later. Remember, if you have a town star node, you get so much town a day. I think 30 or 40 town a day. When those nodes first came out, I'm looking at that like, wow, this isn't a lot. Now, with their repricing of things, seeing that they're not going to be distributing very much, it might become a lot. 30 town might be worth $30, on a daily basis. So then it's not too shabby to have a town node.
You don't think they're going to adjust the distribution on the nodes? I'm betting that would be part of the pool of distributions, no?
Well, they've actually, what it sounds like they're doing is making the towns, the daily distribution of towns no longer dependent upon the NFTs, but done in the exact same way that they're doing it with the town star nodes.
Yeah.
So they're kind of equalizing it, so it can be, everything can be the same way. In one sense, that's good, but in another, because it actually gives them a better ability to control things. Right now, it's hard to control how many, who has how many NFTs and so on. By doing what the way the nodes are doing, they're saying, okay, the number of daily active users determines the size of the town distribution. So only the daily active users should be getting the rewards every day. Okay, that makes a certain amount of sense. So I can see it makes it so it's easier for them to plan with. Okay, but I bet some people are making out now that won't be making out as much in the future. Whenever you change any sort of economic lever, that's going to happen. There are going to be people that suffer from it.
Right. And Faz always rolls his eyes at me, and we talked a little about this as well. I've been poking at this for a couple of weeks now, both in Discord and on here. And it just appears to me with a lot of the examples that I've talked about in Discord, and even this here, they seem to be finding ways in which to redefine the earn part of play to earn. Or they say now, according to Bitbender's gavel hitting the table, play and earn is the new mantra going forward.
That's not just
There,
them doing that. That seems to be the whole play to earn community seems to be wanting to change it to play and earn.
well, and that's entirely possible, but the point being is that the earn function does not necessarily mean dollars in your pocket anymore or tokens in your wallet anymore. Earning is more, they're pulling back, like with the TWD Voxes right now. They're saying, okay, you buy these things, all it's going to do is buff your game. We have no plans to make this worth earning tokens in the future. So if you're a player that loves the Walking Dead game, that's great for you. But if you're here to actually earn tokens, that's not going to work for you. Well, here we are with the town, and they're pulling these gems into it, and they want these to be a one-way transaction, it looks like, and they want you to be playing a game, and your earnings will be that you have the ability to earn more town to get more gems, and everything stays on the ecosystem, instead of having the ability to pull that off and go to an exchange and get money for it. That seems to be the direction that they're taking a lot of the future things that they're doing here, and getting it away from putting cash in your pocket, and instead you earn in-game things.
Well,
So
be careful. Be careful because I see a lot of extrapolation from this that might be a bit too much. What they're introducing here is a simple burn mechanism. I'm not seeing a narrative of them wanting to take more and more away from you. I'm seeing what seems like a course correction where, oh my God, we printed up too much town because anybody who has an NFT has town, and maybe our number of players aren't going up, and the players are having a hard time getting in, getting up to speed. It just looks to me like it's a burn mechanism. What do burn mechanisms do? They raise the value of a coin because there's less of them. So it might seem to you to be a conspiracy, but it seems to me to be just a course correction. It's like, oh, things didn't happen the way we thought they would, so let's make it so things can be burned. They also said we're taking these NFTs out of the store temporarily. In my opinion, what that really means is they want to revalue them. It might be that those silly sneakers, those shoes that were on sale for a while, and those basketball courts, what are they earning, like 3 or 5 town a day? Maybe that's supposed to be a big amount, and if they adjust their tokenomics, then that will be a big amount. If the town becomes worth $1, then $3 to $5 a day per NFT might not be that bad. So, of course, the next problem is, the next thing people complain about is, what about those people who got the earlier NFTs? What's going to happen with them? I see the gems as a way, actually, of pulling money back from those people. But frankly, I think a lot of them will just hoard their stuff, and you're going to get gems mostly from people who barely get into town every day just so they can keep winning from the next day. They're just going to be, well, if this were a society, societies seem to always depend on the poor people the most because there's more poor people. So the poor people will be using buying the gems far more than the rich.
So Henry just posted that Robo announced a Series 2 Townstar NFT, which would not earn like the existing. Again, not earning tokens,
Robo?
earning in-game buffs.
Who's Robo?
He's one of the green names over there.
Okay.
You have your fuzzles, right? And right in the FAQ, there might be utility, you might get some drops, but there's no earning anticipated with these. Everything is getting away from earning tokens and is going towards earning rewards that are payable in game for players of games. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm looking at fact, and I'm looking at what they're doing with these earn mechanisms. I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not complaining about it. The thing is that they're getting back to their roots. They want gamers here, people who are interested in playing games. So this is they're looking to eliminate the people like me who are just here to pull assets out and go cash them in on an exchange and make a nice profit on those. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to be able to point out to people that these are the trends that I'm seeing. That's 4 examples right there of how they're taking the earn portion that used to be in tokens and flipping it around to just in-game things. Now, the problem that they're going to have with that is I don't personally feel, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe there are people who are willing to do this, but I would never spend $1,500 on an NFT just to get in-game buffs to make my character go faster. No, sorry, that's not me. So those who do enjoy that, great, knock yourself out. But I can't see those prices that Gala traditionally has been charging for the NFTs that they sell to be able to continue.
So I think you're missing something here. Do you remember Town Crush, which they just took off the market, or which they just took off their store? Town Crush had these NFTs that you could buy that would be destroyed in the game. They weren't a complete. Yeah, actually, they would be destroyed in the game. You could also buy them as NFTs, but you could buy these chickens that would launch themselves into the grid there and take out a number of the fruit. And when I was getting a lot of points when I was playing, I found them useful, and my daughter showed that you could win the game. You could get past the only way you could get past the last level for me and for her is to load up on those little chicken eggs and then just set them all going on the very last level, and then you can get through it. It might be that you're going to need some of those gems in order to get past some weekly challenges. So before you start, you know, freaking out, there's probably a valid use for them.
Well, right, I'm not freaking out. It's built for gamers, and that's great. The gamers can rock on that. I am not a gamer. I've never been a gamer. I enjoy playing the games, some of them, like I'm looking forward to Miranda's, yes.
Maybe you
And
should
I
quantify what gamer means to you, because if you're playing a game, in essence, you're a gamer.
yeah, well, okay. I have never the only reason I got an Xbox account is because my kids play. And I rarely play with them because I suck at most of them. I've never sat for hours in front of a video game machine. I've never sat for hours and played any type of video game. The only reason I play Townstar now is not for enjoyment, but it's for earning. If Townstar wasn't putting money in my pocket, I wouldn't be playing it. Now, that's not to say that I still couldn't stay on the platform and buy and sell NFTs on OpenSea and be a flipper or whatever you want to call it. That would be probably where I would be suited best for. But Miranda's, yes, I'm looking forward to that one. I enjoy tower defense games. I've occasionally played on Candy Stand when that was around. I played a tower defense game, so I bought a few NFTs again to earn first and play second because I thought I'd have fun doing it. I'm not going to buy NFTs for games I wouldn't play anyway, or I would be miserable or terrible at. But yeah, okay, so I'll play long enough to get my earnings and off I go. you're not like that. You love video games. You love playing them. You'll play them for free and pay for them. Great. Uh, that's the kind of people Gala Games wants, and I'm not the kind they want. And I can fit into the ecosystem just as easily as you, though.
Well, what does that really say if about your observations if you're playing it only for the the profitability aspect of it, um, and then you complain about how things are getting less profitable? I mean, it sounds like you're setting yourself up for a big disappointment. Ideally, it should be a really really fun game, and that's how Gala has always advertised themselves.
hmm I'm not arguing that at all, and nor am I complaining about it. The reason I complain is because the messaging around it, when they're clear like they are with that Gala Games blog they just put out, I can understand that. I can appreciate that. And I can, I guess, deal with that. But if they would have come out with a typical announcement that said, gems will be available in game and they'll provide, extra storage, you can use them to do cool things in the game. And they left it at that. And then I buy all these gems with my town and then find out after purchasing that I can't convert them back into town coin. I'm going to be a little bit butthurt.
Well, here's a good example that I see on the Gala Discord. Robotron asks, "What do you think of NFTs that don't earn but give permanent town power?" Now that's useful.
It is.
It's not earning, however, you need town power to earn. So
No, it's
indirectly, it's
It's
earning.
earning town power. Right. It's defining the word earn. What does earn mean? I'm looking for things that earn tokens that I can take and do something with and make some money with. You or other gamers or whoever else might be looking for that exact same thing, a utility. It makes a bigger utility in game. Um, so I might be the minority, and if this is going across all of the play and earn platforms, I'll have to selectively choose, what it is that I put my money into then, because I'm not one that feels like putting $10,000 or 20 or $30,000 into a platform and just to get in-game buffs. That's not me. If I'm putting 20 or 30 or $40,000 into something, I want to get 60, 70, $80,000 of cash in my pocket out of it. So maybe play to earn isn't something I'll continue to do in the future if that's where it's going.
I guess I see NFTs in Townstar as staking. So I see them as not being a direct award of money and value, but something more indirect. So it really depends on how much you want to mess with it. I get rewarded for playing the games, and I get rewarded for holding the funds. And if there's a run on things, then I'll sell. In any case, I think this cast here is starting to get a bit long. We talked about all the tax implications and given a couple cents on the new town mechanic. Do you have anything more to say before we get out of here, Mr. Titan?
No, sir. Another fantastic evening, and I hope everybody got some value out of this. We got a little. I do want to mention one thing. We did get a little bit of feedback the other night in one of the uh, channels when I was talking with some people that maybe we run long. They would like to see this, this, and this, which is great. That's the first feedback we've had in a very long time. So please reach out to Faz or to me and let us know what we can do better. Do we, Friday nights seem to be everybody's favorites. Do we need to add mini ones along the week? What would you like to hear about? We haven't had much in the way of those on Discord stages because the demand hasn't been there. We asked for some feedback on what we would want to talk about in there. If you want those things, we're happy to do them. but we need feedback, please. And thank you.
What he said. All right. Thank you very much, guys, for hanging out.
Good one. See you later.
Bye-bye.